Hello children, how are you all? I hope you are well and good. Today I am here with a lesson from supplementary book Vistas. The name of the lesson is The Tiger King, written by Kalki. First let me tell you about the author. So Kalki is the pen name of Ramaswamy Iyer Krishnamurthy. He was a Tamil writer, journalist, poet, critic and Indian independence activist. He wrote 120 short stories, 10 novelettes, 5 novels, 3 historical romances, editorial and political writings and hundreds of film and music reviews. Next we move on to introduction to the lesson. The story is a satire on the rich and powerful kings of the olden times. In order to prove the prophecies of the fortune teller wrong, the king of Pratibandhapuram mindlessly kills 99 tigers, but the 100th one, the cause of the king's death, escapes his bullet. Ultimately, the king is killed by an inanimate tiger made of wood. Hence, the prophecy turns to be true, despite the king's efforts to prove it wrong. Let's go to the lesson. The main character of the story is the king of Pratibandhapuram. The king is a hero due to his bravery. He is given a list of titles to emphasize on his greatness. That means that list of titles says that how great he was. To sum up all the titles in one, the king is called the Tiger King. The writer tells us why the king was called the Tiger King. He further promises the reader that he will not go back on his promise even if he is under the threat of an attack by a Stuka bomber aircraft. That means it's a German bomber, Stuka bomber. This aircraft is used in Second World War. So here the author promises the reader he will not go back on his promise even if he is under the threat of an attack by a Stuka bomber aircraft. Instead, he says that the Stuka bomber aircraft can go back because he is not scared of it, and he will tell the reader why the king was called the Tiger King. The writer says that before elaborating about the Tiger King, one important thing about him was that any person who read about the Tiger King would be very excited to meet a man of such undefeatable courage. So, person who read about the Tiger King, he would be very excited if he get a chance to meet that undefeatable courage man. But he says that there is no chance of meeting the Tiger King as the Tiger King is already dead and he has reached heaven. So the manner in which the Tiger King died was very interesting. The writer could tell us about it only at the end of the story, but he adds that a very interesting fact about the Tiger King's death was that when the Tiger King was born, astrologers had predicted at that time that one day the Tiger King would die. This prediction is meaningless because in fact everyone has to die one day. The writer gives an elaborate description of what the astrologers predicted at the time of the birth of Tiger King. They said that the child would grow up to become a brave warrior, a hero and a champion. But after that they stopped. They hesitated to continue. Then the astrologers were forced to continue. They said that what they would reveal just now was a secret. They said that the child, that is the Tiger King, was born under such a star that any person who was born at that time had to meet his death one day. Again, this prediction is meaningless because as a fact, everyone has to meet his death one day. So the astrologers predicted the child had to meet his death one day. So this is meaningless prediction because in fact everyone has to meet his death one day. So as the astrologers revealed their secret prediction, a miracle took place. The 10-day-old tiger king, whose name was Jilani Jung Bahadur, spoke up. So 10-day-old tiger king, he was started speaking. So the name of the child Jilani Jung Bahadur. So all the listeners were surprised to see 10-day-old baby spoke. The Tiger King called out to the wise astrologers, and the main astrologer removed his spectacles and he looked intently at the little baby. How 10-day-old baby it was speaking. The Tiger King said that all those who are born have to die one day, and he did not need their predictions to know this fact. And he said that if the astrologers told him how the manner of his death, if they could tell how the Tiger King would die, then it would make some sense to him. So the chief astrologer was amazed to see a 10-day-old baby, it was speaking, and asked an intelligent question to the chief astrologer. So what the child asked to the chief astrologer, if the astrologers told him the manner of his death, how the child would die. If they said that, then it would make some sense to him. The chief astrologer, he was amazed, surprised how 10-year-old baby was speaking. And he looked carefully at the little prince. Then he said, the Tiger King was born in the hour of the bull, which was an enemy of the tiger. So the Tiger King would die due to a tiger. As soon as the crown prince Jung Bahadur heard the name of a tiger, he made a deep growling sound and spoke terrifying words. He said that all the tigers should beware. The crown prince Jung Bahadur grew taller and stronger, and there were no other miracles in his childhood. In his childhood days, there were no other miracles happened. As a boy, he drank the milk of an English cow, and he was brought up by an English governess, and he got lessons in English by an Englishman, and he watched English movies. When the crown prince turned 20 years of age, the royal state was given to him. All the people who lived in the kingdom were aware of the astrologer's prediction. Many of the people discussed these predictions, and one day King Jung Bahadur came to know of it. The Pratibandhapuram state had many forests which had a number of tigers in them. The Maharaja was aware of an old saying that he could kill even a cow in order to protect himself. So he felt that the cow, which was considered to be a holy animal, could also be killed by a Hindu in order to save himself. Then no one would object if he killed a tiger in order to protect himself. So Maharaja Jung Bahadur started out on a tiger hunting expedition. He was very excited when he killed the first tiger. He called for the state astrologer and showed him the dead tiger. The Maharaja was very excited when he killed the first tiger. So he called for the state astrologer, and the Maharaja showed him the dead tiger. And he asked the astrologer for his comments. The astrologer replied that the king could kill 99 tigers in exactly the same way. Then after that he stopped speaking. The king encouraged the astrologer to continue without fear. After killing 99 tigers, what would happen? So the astrologer said that the king had to be very careful with the 100th tiger that he hunted. The king asked him that what would happen if he killed the 100th tiger also. The astrologer replied that he would tear all his books of astrology and set them on fire. Then he continued that he shall cut off his hair and would change his profession from an astrologer to an insurance agent, as he would not remain a good astrologer any longer. So from that day, the tigers in Pratibandhapuram had a nice time, as the kingdom banned tiger hunting by anyone except the Maharaja. No one was allowed to kill a tiger other than the Maharaja himself. The law was so strict that an official announcement was made that if anyone was caught killing a tiger or even throwing a stone at a tiger, his wealth and property would be taken away by the kingdom of Pratibandhapuram. The king of Pratibandhapuram took an oath that he would attend all other matters of the kingdom only after he had killed 100 tigers. In the beginning, it seems that he would achieve his target very fast. But it was not that he feared the tiger. When the king went on his hunting expeditions, he faced danger many times. Sometimes his bullet missed its target, and sometimes the tiger jumped upon him. The king would fight with the tigers barehanded, without weapons, but each time he won and killed the tiger. Once King Jangjang Bahadur was about to lose his throne. A high-ranking British officer visited Pratibandhapuram. He was fond of hunting tigers, and he wanted to get himself photographed with the dead tigers. He wanted to hunt tigers in Pratibandhapuram also. But as the Maharaja had banned, the king had banned killing tigers by any other person. So he did not give permission to this British official also. So he offered him to go on any other hunting like mouse or even a mosquito hunt. But he refused to arrange a tiger hunting for this British officer. So the British official secretary sent a message to the Maharaja that the Durai. So on those days, British officers, they were called as Durai. So Durai, that is a official himself, the British officer himself did not want to kill the tiger. The king could kill the tiger. He only wanted to get himself photographed with the dead body of a tiger. But the king did not agree to this proposal also. He said that if he allowed the official to get himself photographed with the dead tiger, then other British officers would also come to Pratibandhapuram in order to fulfill their wish for hunting a tiger. So he did not allow him to take photograph. So as the king had refused a British officer from fulfilling his wish, he was in danger of losing his kingdom. So the king had discussions with his minister over this issue. So what would he do for this? So the king sent a telegram to a famous British company of jewelers based in Calcutta. So he asked them to send samples of expensive diamond rings of different designs. So the jeweler sent 50 rings and the Maharaja sent all of the 50 rings to the British officer's wife. So he wanted to please her. So the king had expected that the British officer's wife would choose one or two rings and return the others. But she just sent a reply saying thanks for the gifts, and she kept all the rings. All the 50 rings she kept. So after 2 days, the British jewelers sent a bill of 3 lakh rupees for the 50 diamond rings they had sent. The Maharaja was happy that he had saved his kingdom for a sum of 3 lakh rupees. So the king was very successful in his tiger hunting missions. In a span of 10 years, he had killed 70 tigers. After killing 70 tigers, an unplanned problem stopped his mission. The problem was that there were no more tigers in Pratibandhapuram. Here the writer creates humor when he says that maybe the tigers practiced birth control activities and did not produce offsprings, or maybe they committed suicide, or maybe they ran away from Pratibandhapuram because they did not want to be killed by an Indian. On the other hand, they wanted to be killed by a Britisher. So these things here the writer, by this he creates humor. So one day the king called his minister and waved his gun towards him. He said that he was yet to kill 30 more tigers. So already he killed 70 tigers. So yet he want to kill 30 more tigers. The minister was scared when he saw the gun. And the king had called his minister for another work. The king wanted to get married. He asked his minister to make a list of all the kingdoms and the number of tigers they had. Next, the minister was supposed to find out if there was a girl worth marrying in the royal family of a state which had a large number of tigers. The minister followed the orders and he found the right girl from a state which had a large number of tigers. So every time King Jang Bahadur visited his father-in-law, he would kill 5 or 6 tigers in the kingdom. So in this manner, the king killed 99 tigers, and the skin of the tigers decorated the walls of the lobby hall of Pratibandhapuram palace. So as the Maharaja has killed 99 tigers, he was to kill just one more to complete his total of 100 tigers. So now the Maharaja has killed 99 tigers. He became very anxious and curious to kill the 100th tiger. So all through the day and night, he kept on dreaming of killing the 100th tiger. The tiger population in the king's father-in-law's kingdom had also finished. So there were no tigers in his father-in-law's kingdom. He could not find a single tiger anywhere. The king was very desperate, hopeless for one single tiger that he could hunt, after which he would give up hunting as he would not fear tigers any longer. He was reminded of the late astrologer's words that he was supposed to be very careful with the 100th tiger that he hunted, and the king agreed that tigers were uncontrolled animals, and so he had to be cautious of it, that he had to be very careful of it. But he was not able to find the 100th tiger that he could kill. So this made the king very sad. So his sadness came to an end when he got the news that in a hillside village sheep was disappearing very fast. There were two people in the kingdom, Kadar Mian Sahib and Virasami Naikar, who could swallow whole sheep. As this was not their job, so it was calculated that there was a tiger at work. The villagers were very excited and they informed the king about it. The Maharaja was so happy that the villagers need not to pay the taxes for 3 years and set out to hunt this tiger. The king could not locate the tiger easily, and it seemed as if the tiger was hidden in order to go against the king's desire of killing the tiger. But the king was very determined. He did not leave the forest until he would find the tiger. Maharaja exempted the villagers from all taxes for 3 years and set out to hunt his tiger. So with the passing days, he became very angry because he stayed in jungle day and night. He couldn't locate the tiger easily. So the king became very angry and he was firm to kill the tiger. He was determined in killing a tiger. In his anger, he removed many officers from his kingdom. One day, in his fury means anger, in his anger, he called the minister and ordered him to increase the land tax to double. He felt that by doing this, the people would become unhappy and his kingdom would become a part of the Indian National Congress. By doing so, the minister would also resign from his post. This was the king's way of threatening the minister. The minister realized that the king was very angry and he thought that if the tiger was not found soon, it could lead to destruction. The minister found that the tiger had been brought from the People's Park in Madras, was hidden in his house. He felt relieved. The minister, along with his wife, pulled the tiger into his car and drove the car to the forest where the Maharaja was hunting. The tiger did not come out of the car and the minister had a tough time pushing the tiger out of the car into the forest. The next day, the same tiger was spotted by the Maharaja. He was very happy to see the 100th tiger and he aimed at the tiger. The tiger fell down as if it had been shot dead by the king. So the king was overjoyed to have killed the 100th tiger and had fulfilled his desire. The king was happy to have killed the 100th tiger. He ordered that the tiger should be brought to the capital in a grand procession and went away in his car. After the king had left the hunters took a closer look at the tiger and saw that it was alive. They realized that the king's bullet had missed the tiger. The tiger had nearly fainted due to the shock as the bullet had passed close it. The hunters were confused what to do, and so one of them aimed at the tiger and shot it dead. Then the hunters followed the king's orders and took the dead tiger to the town in a procession. It was buried and a beautiful tomb was erected on the tiger's grave. After a few days, the Maharaja's son's 3rd birthday was celebrated. Till that time, the king had been so engrossed, he was so busy in tiger hunting that he had never spent any time with his family. Now, as he had fulfilled his desire of killing 100 tigers, he gave his attention to his child. King Jangjang Bahadur wanted to give a special gift to his son on his birthday. And so he went to the shopping center in Pratibandhapuram. He searched every shop but he couldn't find any suitable gift for his son. Finally, he saw a wooden tiger in a toy shop and considered it to be the perfect gift. The wooden tiger cost only 2.25 annas, but the shopkeeper knew that if he quoted such a low price to the king, he would punish him. So the shop owner told the king that the wooden tiger was a perfect example of craftsmanship and that it cost a mere 300 rupees. The king was very happy and he said that this was the shop owner's gift to the crown prince. He took the tiger with him. The king and his son played with the wooden tiger. The tiger had been made by an unskilled carpenter. The Maharaja and his son was playing with the wooden tiger. When they were playing, the tiny shavings of wood, the slither, that means the small piece of wood pricking out of it. One of the small piece of wood pierced the Maharaja's right hand. The Maharaja pulled it out and continued to play with the prince. The next day there was a lot of infection in the Maharaja's right hand due to that small piece of wood that had pricked his hand. In a period of 4 days, the infection turned into a wound full of pus and spread all over the king's right arm. 3 famous surgeons were called from Madras and they decided to operate upon the king. After the operation, the surgeons came out of the theatre and said that the operation was successful and the Maharaja was dead. Here the surgeons' words are contradictory because if the king died, it meant that the operation was unsuccessful, whereas they said that it was successful. Actually, they were supporting the words of the astrologer. The wooden tiger was the 100th tiger that had killed the king Jang Bahadur and thus made the astrologer's prediction true. So, in this manner, the 100th tiger took revenge upon the Tiger King and killed him. Let's recall the summary of the story. The Tiger King is the story of King Jang Bahadur of Pratibandhapuram, a brave warrior whose death had been predicted when he was born. The chief astrologer had predicted as a royal child was born in the hour of the bull, the tiger being its enemy, death would come to the child by a tiger. The brave prince asked all the tigers to beware of him. He came to be known as Tiger King. The prince became king at the age of 20 and considering killing a cow in self-defense to be lawful, went on a tiger killing freely. He was warned of danger from the 100th tiger that he encountered. As all the tigers in his kingdom had been killed by him, but still he had to kill more, so he married into a state having a population of tigers. When his killings reached 99, he desperately sought the next hunt. Fearing the king's harshness, the minister planted an old tiger in the forest for him to kill. The king fired at it, but the tiger escaped the bullet miraculously. The royal hunters feared the king and so did not inform him, rather they killed the beast themselves. The king was satisfied that he had evaded death, he was escaped from death and now celebrated his son's 3rd birthday. He got a wooden toy tiger as a gift for the prince. Although it was poorly done, the shopkeeper, fearing punishment under the rules of emergency, charged a high price. As both the king and his son were playing with the tiger, one of the thin pieces of wood that were erupting out of the wooden tiger like feathers pierced the king's right hand. The wound became infectious, spread through his arm, and as he was being operated upon, he died. So the 100th tiger killed the king and eventually took its revenge. Let's see the theme of the lesson. Animals and birds are as much part of the nature as human beings. The destruction of one species may not only lead to its extinction, but it will adversely affect ecological balance. Those animals which serve as food for the wild animals will increase in large number if the beasts of prey are wiped out. Each species, howsoever fierce, deadly, ferocious or poisonous, has its role in maintaining ecological balance in nature. The message we get from this lesson: you can't harm nature even if you are a Maharaja. Harming nature will lead to serious consequences. Children, we humans should kill the animal inside us and be a true human and not harm animals. I think you understood the lesson. Thank you, children.